It's that time.
Yes, sir. Come on.
You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Come on.
We talking barbells and brews in here. Every week talking fitness and how to get this favorite beer. They feature a brew every week. On top of that, give you tips on keeping your stomach flat, looking sleek. Chaz and Gene got you covered on both scenes. You'll be curling 16s and mastering your cleans. You ain't gotta listen to no one else. They mix fun with education to better yourself. What more could you ask for? Hit subscribe if you wanna keep your lifting and drink game live. Your workout lacking, your diet need help. With Barbells and Brews, leave your worries on the shelf, yo. It's Barbells and Brews. Yeah, it's Barbells and Brews, yo. It's Barbells and Brews. Yeah, with Chaz and Gene, you can't lose. Come on.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's the brews side of the Barbells and Brews duo. It's your boy Gene Volpe. I'm here with, and I'm hot. I'm coming in hot right now. I can see it on the monitor, so I got to be real careful. That coming out of that gate there.
You got to bring your inside voice in.
I got to do what?
You got to bring your inside voice in a little bit.
I don't have an inside voice.
I know you don't, not at all.
I have an inside my
That's
head
accurate.
voice.
No inside voice over there.
All right, listen, we already got one of our two new guests.
Yo, this is probably the most exciting podcast we've done.
It's going to be fun.
This is going to be awesome.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So before we get into who we have sitting with us, let's do some house cleaning.
Yeah, let's do some house cleaning.
Right, so why don't you tell everybody who we are and what we're doing?
Well, the cool thing is we got our first shipment in of Tavour. So we got our first box of beer in. Tavour, download the app, beer ordering app. $10 off your first $25 or more. So that's like 2 free beers. Definitely check it out. Use code Barbells for that $10 off. Thank you to Tavour for sponsoring our podcast.
And tell them about the mission statement, too. Why are we doing it?
Oh, well, we do the fitness to drink the beers, of course.
We do all the fitness so we can drink all the beers, right? We're gonna rate a couple ones today. We're got a good story about the beer that we picked up today, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It was kind of funny how it worked out,
Yeah, it
right?
was.
So without further ado, because I know this one is going to be probably a longer than usual one, but it's going to be well worth it. We have the brothers Holloway with us today. Welcome, Mr. Michael and Mr. Ryan. How you boys doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Now, well, I'm sitting here with you two. How could it be anything but wonderful?
Doing pretty good. I'm losing my voice a little bit. I'm hoping that it gives me that sexy side effect and not the pre-puberty side effect. It can go two ways.
Well, hopefully,
let's hope that.
Hopefully you're watching on video, which we're not because we didn't kick that off yet. I'll start it in a second. But when you're watching this on video, they're going to get to see the sexy side of Ryan.
There you go.
So we get the visual as well
They
as the
can put
audio.
the voices to the bodies in this one.
I love every second
So it'll
of
be
it.
good.
All right, so I don't even know where we want to get into this. We're gonna start talking a little bit about.
Well, let's talk about some of the beers we have, and let's talk about.
All right, you
why we
start
have
there. I'm
two.
gonna hit go. I'm gonna hit record.
Yeah,
Start there.
so we have 2 beers on the show today. One is a cider, though. Our first cider on the episode, courtesy of our buddy Ryan over here. Ryan,
He's got to watch his figure.
Ryan's got to watch his figure. Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
That's not accurate.
Although I'll tell you what, though, he was killing it in the workout today. I saw him on the story, and we did a workout today in EMOM of 10 cal bike, right? 5 clean and jerks and 5 muscle ups, and you guys
Yes.
were killing it on the story. So I don't know if it's watching your figure as much as it's making sure nothing else from what he's drinking here upsets his stomach a little bit here.
Yeah, the best way to describe it is I love beer, but my butthole doesn't love beer. So
we start on fire out of the gate.
That's
right?
on fire.
Let's just get it going.
Listen,
It's
it hurts
fun.
on the way down and on the way out, right? So
It's funny you guys say we drink the beers, or we work out to drink the beers. I say that after every workout. I earned my beers today.
That's
'Cause
isn't
I
it?
love beer.
listen.
Well, you're gonna love what we have today. So
Love
maybe
beer.
we should jump into the beer that how
Yeah.
we talked about it, right?
So let's talk about our cider. So our cider is actually one of the best ciders that I've had, courtesy of Ryan, because when we were at an after hours party, he decided, he's like, you know what, Chaz, try this cider out. I like ciders a lot. So Ryan, what's the cider called? Remember?
we're drinking Jack's Hard cider.
Jack's Hard
Just to
Cider.
clarify the whole butthole comment, I have Crohn's disease, so I can't eat gluten. It fires me up. So when I'm missing a beer, and I love beer, but I can't have it anymore. When I'm craving a beer, I go to a cider now.
Yeah, right.
One of the best ciders I found that kind of gives you that same feeling of a beer is Jack's Hard cider, because not a lot of sugar. It's kind of dry, but not so dry that's like a wine.
Yeah, it's great, and like you said, even just for like a cleaner cider and with not a lot of sugar, because that tends to mess you up a little bit more, right? So that's a lower sugar content beer, but it keeps its taste.
Yeah, it's decent alcohol. I think it's like 5%, and it's local Pennsylvania cider.
which we like for
Oh, I
sure.
didn't know that.
You know,
Yeah, it's local.
The only problem with a Jack cider, because I've had a couple,
Yeah, this is a true
you
story.
cannot open a Jack cider without spilling it.
We're going to try today.
I swear to God.
Really?
Like every time it splashes, man.
Okay.
We're going to have to
It
try it.
splashes.
I think it's because, like, the fermentation of the apples, maybe.
Oh,
It
okay.
always
I see.
it pops.
But I do like the taste.
So we went scientific right off the gate.
Yeah, I like it.
I will tell you, I wish you had left the butthole comments to people's imagination.
Sorry about that.
I didn't want you to clarify that. I wanted to let that
Did
ride.
you
but
did you lose your sponsor?
after all the stuff we've been talking about the last couple of
Listen,
weeks, I doubt that's
there
gonna
are some
do
ciders on Tavor.
You might get more sponsors.
it. We might get.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think.
Yeah.
so wait, what's the? I'm not even going down that road. We're not
Yeah.
going down that one. Hershey Kisses.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Next week. that's
You know
gonna
what? You just picked up a new sponsor today, right now.
be- I'm listening.
Arctic Buzz is going to sponsor you guys. Okay.
Arctic
Yeah.
Buzz.
Yeah, and you're gonna. It's not a beer, but it's a liquor ice cream. We'll talk about it later. But you just
Ooh.
picked up a new sponsor.
A
I'm just
guest
saying.
sponsor. I
A
don't
guest
need that
sponsor,
every-
but we will write a check.
Wow.
All right.
How about
Arctic
that?
How about
Buzz.
that?
Wait, liquor ice cream was in the works for a while, so
Yeah.
I'm
We're,
kind
it's
of,
it's a whole new. Let's stick to the great beers you guys picked today.
Absolutely.
And we'll set up a different show
all right.
for
Bring
your
on
for your
Bruce.
Arctic Buzz.
Bring
Yeah,
on
we'll bring on
Bruce.
Bruce.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to
That's
be.
awesome.
Listen, I think this is just leading to a bad path for me.
For you, for
I guess
sure.
we probably should talk about the rehab centers because I'm going to need one after all these sponsors,
that's
right?
right. That's right.
But we can get into that down the road. So I think let's tell the story real quick about the sunshine. We want to do that?
yeah, why don't you do that?
All right, so I went in today and I had heard that Michael, from a little birdie, his brother Ryan told me, Michael's a big fan of the IPAs. IPA I can't really drink. They give me hangovers. Like
Yeah,
the hops
I
kill
mean,
me.
it stands for India Pale Ale.
Right.
It's one of the hoppiest brands of beer, if you want to say.
And if I drink 2 or 3 of them, I always have a headache. So I don't know them like I know the other beers. So I went into our local spot today looking for a good one, and I said to the kid, I need your IPA guy. He's like, I'm your guy. What do you want? I said, we got special guests on tonight. I need a real good one. He goes, I guess literally said, this is my fucking favorite one, like that. And I said, okay, give me 6. So we get him, we bring him in, and I'm telling Mike the story outside. He's like, by any chance, is it sunshine? And I'm like,
Sip of
yeah.
sunshine, yeah.
I think it is. What
exactly
is it
what it is.
Sip
He's
of
like,
sunshine.
Sip of sunshine.
Sip of sunshine,
I'm
yellow
actually
can.
excited about this
Yeah,
now,
this is gonna be
right?
good, yeah.
That's 2 people that said they love it, so
Yeah.
I'm really excited about getting that going. And we're right around the 7-minute mark, so we're
So
gonna
let me start
doing
pouring,
it.
and why don't you start to get into it?
Let's
with,
do it.
with the guys.
All right, so listen, I'm going to start. I think I want to start with rye on this one. I want to get into the genesis of Paul Bunyan. I want to talk
Sure.
a little bit about the naming. I want to get into your headspace. So while we're talking, think a little bit about there had to be alternate or alternative names that you were thinking about coming up with when we talked about it. I'd love to hear some of those. If you can remember, because now we're open and we are at the fabulous Paul Bunyan Fitness Center in Newtown Square, PA. This is where we tape from. You guys have seen it on video. So, right, give me and
6 years, by the way.
It's over, right?
Yeah.
It's over 6 years. And I will tell you, I think if you go to the books, I'm your longest standing member.
You might be. I remember.
There's only one person here that sort of claims it, and it's Deanna.
Oh,
But
really?
I have
That would be
Facebook
close.
proof, bro. I have Facebook proof.
The only Deanna, Dr. Mike, maybe. I think you were before Dr. Mike.
I think
though.
so.
I think Jima's original, man.
I think so. I'm going with the
I
OG.
remember the first day you came in.
Do you remember?
Yeah, my nephew was spinning the sign. You came in and you were doing P90X in your basement.
I was. True story.
And the first thing you did was box jumps, sit-ups.
Did it spill?
Box
Wow.
jumps, sit-ups,
You
and
got
what
it
else?
without
I don't
spilling?
know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember you
That's
doing
impressive, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember? So I came in while it was under construction, and your crew was working on the old gym.
Yeah.
And they were doing construction, and the guy said to me, do you want me to get the owner on the phone? Not knowing it was you at the time. It ended up being you. And you said to me, meet me at the Starbucks. You remember that? We sat down for coffee, and you said, what's your big deal? I said, I'm nervous. I'm afraid. I don't know anything about CrossFit at the time. It was a CrossFit place. Now it's overall fitness, which we can get into. But I was nervous about it because I run my own shop, and I said, I can't get hurt. And he said, I guarantee you, we have the best trainers. You're not going to get hurt unless you don't listen. And I said, you know what? I like this dude. Okay, we're going to
Well,
try
actually,
it out.
he might get hurt because he doesn't listen. So
Well, I don't listen. No, that's part of my MO. I certainly don't. No, I've been getting better. But why? Tell me real quick. Tell the people. I already know. But what made you open the place?
So that's kind of so we talked a little bit about my health issue with Crohn's. I was actually living out in LA. And when I first got involved with CrossFit, I was at Krav Maga Worldwide in their instructor program. And they had a CrossFit program where a lot of the guys who were training Krav Maga in their MMA program conditioned in their CrossFit program. Cheers.
So we're jumping in if you're watching it.
We got
And-
to jump in first.
Mike is
Hopefully-
Mike. You cannot drink and not toast
I
Mike.
love
He
it.
gets
I
very
love it.
upset.
And real quick, we hope you're.
Superstition.
Yep.
For
No.
us, we got to cheers to the health and fitness.
And you got to
and
drink after your cheers.
Hopefully, everybody at home is doing the same thing. They're joining us,
Yeah.
right? In
Yeah.
this, I can't
agree.
wait to try this. By the way, but so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Rye.
No, it's good.
No, I think that's can't have bad juju here.
No, you
So, I was at the Krav Maga instructor program, and they were doing CrossFit for conditioning, and I thought I was in pretty good shape. Ex-college athlete, did a lot of bodybuilding when I got out. Thought I was in pretty good shape. Jumped into one class. Still remember it was like a 5-round, 4-exercise class, and I think I got through 4 rounds in 45 minutes, and it was
Oh my
a
God.
tough one to come in on.
Sure.
And I remember being sweating and hitting the ground and be like, I'm never doing that again. And then I was back the next day.
That's everyone's first story.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
really
like,
is.
With CrossFit, you do the workout, you almost die, but you want to come back.
Exactly. So fast forward a little bit further in my time in LA, I end up falling into their in-house training program with a great friend of mine, Tina Angelotti, who was one of the best CrossFit instructors I've ever had. You had to go through an in-house program there before you got your L1, which was huge for me because great training. I don't want to bore you too much with how I got into it. But then I got sick, moved back from LA. I had to move back. I was super sick with Crohn's. And when I moved back, I got better after a couple months in the hospital. And I was living in a townhouse in Newtown Square, working with my partner in the production company. That's my other business.
Yep.
And I built a little thing I called the dojo down there. So it was like this really cool box that I built in the basement, and it was sweet. I was living by myself, so I could do whatever I want. Now it doesn't go so hard.
Why? What's going on now that you can't?
Marriage.
Oh, marriage. Okay, you got a wife. Got it.
So
Hey, his son just pooped on the potty yesterday.
that's
twice.
very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's running around balls naked right now. Just
This is great. That's awesome.
Just like a
Unbelievable.
young man should.
yeah, you got to let him, and it's working. So started the dojo. Mike had been training CrossFit with a cop buddy of his who got into it for functional fitness. So Mike had been training CrossFit and had a little gym in his house. When I would
Oh,
come
really?
back from LA, I'd work out there.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you guys had gyms in your own house,
Believe
like
it or
houses.
not,
Yes.
My buddy Josh McKinley was a professional. He got drafted right out of high school for baseball, first round, great baseball player. He moved down to Florida and went towards the end of his baseball career, started CrossFit, moved out to Denver, started CrossFit, was still doing CrossFit, but he started training with like the original CrossFit crew out of California.
Like the OGs, the guys who
And
started
he
it.
knew
That's
them all.
crazy.
I think
And
some of the nasty girls that it's named after.
Yeah.
I think. We
That's
could be wrong. We'd have to
yeah,
look
but that's
into
pretty
that.
cool though. Still, to
and
do
and,
that.
and so he got me into it, but I'll tell you what, until we opened Paul Bunyan, I never did it the right way. I
feel like no
I
one
was
really
at a
does it the right
gym.
way until they actually get in front of like a coach, like you said, like your first coach ever. Like,
Yeah.
if you were to do it in your basement versus being coached, I feel like that's like a world different, right?
Yeah, so, no, you're right on. So I opened the dojo. And I just started inviting friends over that I would train to work out in my basement, right? So it started, you would come, it would start on Saturdays, right? So a lot of my friends would show up on Saturdays. You getting good feed from me or no?
Yeah, oh, you're good. I'm just keeping my eye on it. I
Okay,
want to make
good.
sure, because here's the
You're
worst
giving me that
thing-
sexy look.
Yeah, the worst thing that's going to happen is I take it home and I'm like, the sound's off. So I'm just keeping my eye on,
All right.
just to make sure we're hearing everything.
All right,
You're
just let
good.
me know.
No,
So,
you're good. You're good.
So
I
you
will-
had your like Saturday throwdowns at your house with everyone.
Yeah, so we had these Saturdays where it'd start off just a couple of my friends would come over. And next thing you know, I had like, 20 to
Probably-
30 people working
Yeah,
out of my
there was,
gym.
there was a good amount.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 20 or 30 people working out of the townhouse
I'd say
gym.
like-
Which, it was
I'd say
a nice
like-
gym, but it wasn't big enough for 20, 30
Like
people.
12 to 15,
I love
maybe.
how organically that happens.
Yeah, you got it. You always got
Yeah,
to.
he's like he's always got to exaggerate the numbers.
So there were 4 people in your basement.
Something like that.
But after like 6 IPAs, we felt there was 24.
It
we
felt
were
like
good.
20.
Yeah.
So then, and you're dropping 200 pounds over your head in a townhome. So my neighbor would come over, this old guy, be like, "What the hell is going on over here?"
Dropping weights, yeah.
Yeah. So then, I'm at the same time I'm working at the production company startup. So then my friends want to start coming more and more. So they're coming on like Tuesdays, Wednesdays.
And you're probably like,
Thursdays.
dude, I can't
Yeah, my
keep
office
doing
is
this.
in my house. So they're blaring music in the basement. I'm like, oh my God, I got to do something here. So me and Mike got together and started brainstorming a little bit. And we were like, hey, should we open a box together? We have a following. We thought we had a following.
Yeah, right.
Not
4
as many
people.
when you start charging, not as many of your friends
As soon
show
as
up.
you start adding the fee, they're like, your house was better.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay at the house.
But we knew we wanted to be in Newtown Square. We hunted for a while, found the old location, opened it up, and when I started it, CrossFit at that point, there was a lot of gyms coming out that were like really aggressive names, and like I just didn't want that aggressive approach.
Like
I
max effort. And
I wanted something like a little more fun, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted, and nothing wrong with those names.
No, not
like,
at all.
Yeah, because
But just
Paul
wasn't-
Bunyan's not intimidating, right?
Well, it
He's
wasn't
a
supposed
soft
to
guy.
be.
Wait, remember Ryan?
Chap-
remember
chops down
remember
trees and
there
has
was
a blue
actually-
ox.
We were Paul Bunyan was on another podcast. Remember that?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
a friend of mine who actually owns CrossFit Connect and Ambler, he sent me a thing that a podcast that Paul Bunyan was on, and there's a gentleman who makes shirts wholesale that you partnered with before. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he was on the podcast, and the guy's like, "Who were some of your partners?" And he goes, "Oh, Paul Bunyan Fitness." And the guy starts laughing. He goes, "Wait, is that like an actual CrossFit gym?" He goes, "Yeah." He's like, "I don't know if they're hipsters with twirly mustaches, like just curling dumbbells, or they're like 300-pound men in overalls, butt naked lifting barbells." He's like, "I don't know which one it is."
In either case, it's frightening.
I know it's I'm about to say.
I'm not going
Well,
there.
the guy says probably a little bit of both. So
Like,
That's
it's
true.
actually
Yeah.
surprising we have women members here with the name, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So anyway, the name was kind of like a spoof, but then we went, I'm a marketing guy. It was really fun to do the branding, and we had a lot
yeah,
of fun with
but
the
you got to say our other brother Patrick is one of the best guys in the world, and he previously had started a company called Blue Ox Lacrosse.
No, Blue Ox was after.
I don't think so. Was
Yeah,
it?
it was,
All right, maybe I was wrong.
that's
Sorry.
still like that's a cool little
It was
Yeah.
fun.
family
It was,
branding episode.
Oh yeah,
there.
it's great.
Well, wait. Explain for the people that don't know, because I was never a Paul Bunyan guy. I didn't read the book. What does Blue Ox have to do with Paul Bunyan?
Babe Blue
Babe
Ox.
the
That's
Blue
a
Ox, man.
sidekick.
That's a sidekick.
So,
Yeah.
so Paul Bunyan's the American folklore,
Got it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an old Disney. It was an old Disney cartoon based off folklore, like Canadian lumberjack or Maine lumberjack.
And he was like huge, right? Huge, like superhuman powers, cut down trees in one swing, kind of a thing, right?
correct.
Yeah.
But it was cartoony too.
Kind
so
of like
it was
us
a mix
now,
of like.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
I
It
mean,
became a mix of aspiring for something great, but also at the same time like having fun while doing
And
it.
he's like a regular guy. He's just you know what I'm saying? Like deep down, like he got the superhuman strength, but he's also like a regular Joe.
Yeah, he's a hero, man.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny?
I never met him, but I think he's.
Wait a minute. You never met him? Then he doesn't exist.
I heard he's pretty cool.
Yo, Mike's probably like,
Yeah.
what do you want to name the gym, right? Paul Bunyan. Who's he?
Well, hold on a second. I did not just say yes, let's do it,
Yeah.
but I lost easy. But I like the name. I do like.
Well, listen, this brings me to another point. Do you guys remember any of the names that were up for
Oh
consideration?
man,
No.
I didn't have any. I
don't
didn't have
think
any
there was
say.
any. I think we got it.
It was Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
Ryan came in hot. It was like, this is it, man.
Doing
We're
Paul
done.
Bunyan. And you know what's funny? People still to this day will come in, like, because when we first opened, I was in the gym all the time. And I remember people coming in, they're like, "Are you Paul?" Or they call the phone, "Are you Paul? Is Paul there?" Like asking for Paul. I go,
Paul who?
just let it ride.
Bunyan.
Instead of
Yeah,
explaining it.
I'm Paul. I'm Paul.
Yeah, exactly.
We should have got name tags created.
Well, you
Paul-
could have just
Paul
said.
Bunyan.
You could have
L.
said he's not here right now, and you'd be right.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
That's
not lying.
actually
We're
pretty
not
good. I
lying.
like that.
So, all right. So that's funny, right? Because I know that people people have asked me, "Do you know why they called the gym that?"
Oh, that's
And
that's like a question for all our members. I think that it'll be cool to hear and understand, like the
Yeah.
origins of the gym.
Yep.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure you got an answer though.
It was vague. It was like somebody
like
called
it was a
my
cool
boy
name.
Paul, and we
Love
liked it, and we looked up Paul names.
Got it.
I think to sum it up, it's a fun name,
There we
right?
go.
And this
It
is a
is.
fun community.
Definitely.
But if you break down Paul Bunyan, there is that aspire for greatness,
Yeah.
be the best you could be. But at the
Absolutely.
same time,
He
it's
was
a
a
folk
regular-
story
yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon that's fun. So, and that's a lot about this community. Like, you come in, we want you to be your best and everything like that, but we also, like, you come into this gym, I think it's a really cool community, and there is that fun family atmosphere, which that's what I wanted to hopefully get, and I think we've gotten that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I thought you were going to go the route to say, like, we have a lot of cartoon characters here.
Oh,
We definitely have that.
definitely have a lot of
You
cartoon
know what I
characters.
I
too.
love about the gym? And listen, I'm not a diehard CrossFit guy. You guys know that.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a lifestyle for me, right? Like, it's a lifestyle investment.
There's not a good ROI on it, you don't think?
He said,
Yeah.
Let's just say this. The members that we have are long-term members.
Yeah.
They're dedicated.
Yep.
They love it. And then the also great part about it is our trainers have such a diversity of expertise, right? So, like, we have, I feel like all of our trainers, Chaz, you included, like, everybody loves different aspects of everybody, and they have their own little following and who likes to go to whose class. And then you got, like, this whole athletic aspect of it where we're pulling kids from different high schools and training here.
Yep.
And, you know, even pros. I mean, shit, Cole Hamill's trained here all off season. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I mean, it's fun stuff.
It's all. You're absolutely right.
And AJ Feely.
Yeah.
yep.
I
And,
mean,
well, let's not leave Heather out of that.
And probably the best athlete of them all.
Right, definitely the best athlete of them all.
Yes.
But yeah,
So-
you're right. Like every trainer has their own little niche, and we could easily just point to each trainer and say, okay, they like this and everything else, but it comes together so effortlessly, so it's pretty
Well,
cool.
so for me too, I think the big thing that's always been paramount in my training here has been, number one, I love the mixture of. So for me, if I have to do the same thing every week, every day, I get bored. I'm out. I have nothing to do. The workouts are never the same. Nothing's ever the same. It's programmed in a way where you work just about every part of your body each week.
Yep.
Right?
There's nothing that you're not hitting each
But
week.
also, if I decide to come in different classes, I get you one day and you treat me different than maybe Allison does, than Jordan does, and that
Stevie does,
the
yeah.
dynamic nature of each one of the trainers while my workout is changing every day
Yeah.
just keeps me on my toes. I never know what I'm going to get.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, that to me has always been a big deal because that P90X was great for me in my basement, but I was also this guy, like, Tony Horton's doing that thing, and left and right. Listen, if you can't keep up with
I
us,
would
sit
have
down.
died
Yeah.
to be a fly on that wall. By
It
the
would have
way.
been great.
That-
like,
like if you want to run a really funny podcast, I would just start that. I'll join you. I'll do P90X.
You
with
will?
Oh my
Just
god,
I
do-
might.
that'd be so.
Yo,
You
drink
and I,
2
could you
beers.
imagine you and I
So wait, so what's it
drinking
called?
beer doing
What's it called?
P90X?
Arctic Freeze?
Is that what it's called?
No,
Or
no, no.
Arctic Buzz.
Arctic Buzz.
Yeah.
So what if we have them sponsored and we eat ice cream?
We
while
should
we
do
go?
that.
We eat
While we do
liquored
it.
ice cream.
But we have to wear headbands.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I got rainbow headbands and
Yo,
wristbands.
short
it's perfect.
shorts, tube socks.
Don't give a shit.
Headbands.
Don't care.
I know you
In
do.
case
I'll
you
do-
didn't know, Ryan can't eat the ice cream either.
Oh, come
Just-
on.
I have, though.
It's a body.
Very
It's a
minimal
body.
gluten
Like, I
trace,
have,
and I
though.
pay the price in the morning. But Gene, to your point, though, I think you make a good point. It's like P90X gets you to a certain point
Yep.
where you're, and that's great. Like, look, I'm not. Everyone's like, "What do you think of this fitness? What do you think of that fitness?" Look, whatever gets you moving and off the couch.
Yeah, that's
number
what we
one.
and
said,
that Ryan, that's
absolutely.
what we say here too. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's CrossFit or any type
Running,
of gym,
right?
running. You're at your
Cares.
house doing whatever you need
Shooting
to do,
bow
as
and
long as
arrows.
you're running and you're healthy.
Yeah.
Dude,
Seriously,
that's a workout. Shooting bow.
Yeah.
Swear to God. I have a bow.
he's used it
That's a whole
twice.
nother story for
I think
another
he's
time.
used it twice, and once was by accident.
How do you use a bow by accident?
Here's the
You
question.
asked Danny Newton. I got a good.
Did you after you used the bow by accident? Did you find yourself in court with a pantsless attorney?
No, I did not.
Well, so shall we go into how fun this?
Oh, this is good. Was this from the locker room the other
Yes.
day?
This was from the
I
locker
haven't
By the
seen
way,
it.
that was really funny.
Was that great?
Really funny.
I haven't
And that's
seen
another,
Mike.
And
that's
this is what-
another
Gene-
guest we need to get on the show. For
Absolutely. This is what makes you so special, by the way.
Why?
How
Because
witty you are.
You love that.
Very witty.
So Mike comes in. I won't name names.
After
although
a hard workout. Good workout.
it was after our workout. It was like a nooner, right? We
Yeah,
did a
yeah,
noon.
yeah.
So it's me, Mike, and one of our local attorneys that goes here to the gym. And he says, shit. I go, what? He goes, I forgot a second pair of underwear. So Mike doesn't hear any of this, right? So he tells me
Which was my situation today, by the way.
right now. Right now.
But I'm not an attorney.
Yo, that's becoming
Right
a
now
trend.
it
at
is?
the
No,
gym.
and you
Me too, I got nothing
Yeah.
on.
wait,
Nothing
and
on.
listen,
I forgot
and you
underwear.
don't
Yeah.
have to be in front of a judge in 10 minutes.
I know.
Right? So he says to me, I don't know what to do. Should I wear my underwear for the workout and go commando later, or should I go commando now and wear my underwear? So whatever the case ends up being, he wears his underwear during the workout and goes commando later. So he's in a full suit, and I says to him, Joe, I won't say his name. What do you got to do? He goes, I got a court case. So I said, well, you're going to go. So me and him are in the locker room together.
So good.
Mike walks in, sits down, and I said, Michael, can I ask you a personal question? And Joe goes, I'll leave you alone. I said, no, this is going to benefit you too, don't worry. And Mike goes, sure, what do you need? I said, if you had an attorney that was, on your time, at Gym H or wherever you're at, and he didn't wear any underwear. How would that make you feel? And Mike looked at me and then looked at Joe and realized I was talking about Joe and was just started dying.
It was so good.
So Joe,
and he forgot his belt
he forgot his belt.
that same day.
See,
And his socks.
that changes
He
things.
had
things a
cut
lot.
off socks on. Do you know that?
Could you imagine the judge being like, Joe, where the F is your belt? And your socks. Please don't
Get
let
out
your
of my
pants fall down.
courtroom. Listen, here's what he
so
told me.
good.
I actually followed up with him a couple nights later. He said, luckily, he didn't have to sit down at all.
Oh, well, we stood there in the gym. So we're
Right?
standing there with Joe, and I go up to Joe. I'm like, yo, I didn't know that you freeballed in the courtroom. And he goes, oh, yeah, it was great.
Go, but tell the whole story. Remember what else he said?
Yeah, you could tell him. Go ahead.
He said, they could see through my pants. And he said, they thought it was my penis, but I told him it was my balls. He is, that's the kind of stuff that
He is
goes
a witty
on.
guy.
He's
He is a
crazy.
witty guy.
You're gonna have
But
to run this by him, see if it's still okay.
No, we didn't say his last name, so we're
Oh,
clear.
sure,
I mean,
very
there's a
true.
lot of Joe
Well, and
attorneys.
you use his fake first name. Which
I
is
use
cool.
his fake, right?
That's
There's no
pretty
note.
cool.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows. Nobody
Yeah.
knows. Although the people that are listening know very well who it is. But that's the kind of stuff where you come to a 5 o'clock class, and that's what you get.
Well, you know what I'd love to hear, everyone? Are you going to wear your underwear workout or in the courtroom? And the belt, no belt changes things.
So, all right, so let's get
I
into
offered a belt. I had a spare belt, by the way, didn't I?
You did, and I think you also offered him spare underwear.
I did not.
But you said
that's funny.
G-string, and he turned
But
away.
I did not. I did not. Because then I would have been free balling it, and that would have sucked.
Yo, that's becoming a trend at this gym, it seems like.
I know nothing of it. I know nothing of it.
You
I'm
can't
living it
work
right
out.
now.
You can't work out without underwear.
No.
Oh, yeah, no. I would
No.
take.
Listen, it's
Spandex, or
bust.
tight.
Yeah.
I like the Tommy Johns. They're nice.
Yeah, you got to have some support.
Gotta have some sport.
I agree with
By
all
the way,
the
this
above.
beer's fantastic.
Well, let's get into that. So,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so wait, my phone is
no,
out
that's
of order.
fine. So,
You got to pull it up, right?
yeah, I'll pull it up. So,
So
we got
pull
2
it.
beers to rate today, or a cider and a beer today to rate.
All right, so let's talk about this real quick. Explain. Well, if you pull it up, I'll explain.
Do we have
what
any more
do.
of it?
Yeah, we have.
We do
plenty
have
of
plenty
them.
more. Well, not plenty. There's 4 left.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna drink.
We're
4
gonna
of
fill
them.
you up, baby. Don't worry. I promise. So here's what
Might
we
take
talk
something
about.
to go.
We're gonna ask you, and I sort of already know
Yeah.
where you're gonna go with it because you already told us how much you like it, but that's okay.
Yep.
So we use an application on. I always say application. We use an app on our phones called Untapped.
Yeah.
You guys know Untapped? You scan the beer,
Yeah.
it tells you where it's at, whatever.
Yeah, you know,
yeah.
But it
Chaz
always
was
gives
just
you a
telling
good
me about
rating.
it before, actually. He showed me how it worked. It's pretty
So
cool.
it gives you a grading from everybody across that goes on. And so we'll read a little bit of the stats from it, and then before he tells us what it is, we give it our own rating. So on a scale of 0 to 10, and you have to take into account, like, one of the things we do is we talk about the finish, how it tastes up front, the price. So if it's slamming good and it's really, really expensive, that factors in a little bit. Or if it's slamming good and it's really cheap, obviously the rating's going to be a little bit higher.
And the other thing too is the rating. So we always rate on a 10-point scale.
Yeah.
So we've had one beer. I think that might have been your favorite. That was a 9.0, and that's the highest we've ever gone.
The Duchesse.
Yeah, and then we've gone as low as like 5 points on a couple other beers that we've had.
Yep.
So
the fresh squeeze was a
You've gone a
9.0.
10 out of 10?
No.
No,
Duchesse.
no.
You've given it 10 out of 10?
No, we haven't.
It's a
The
sour. It's a
the highest
Flemish
we've gone
sour.
is a 9.0.
9.0.
So that's
Was
that's our highest beer so far.
Okay.
Is it 10 exist or is it a unicorn?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't. I got.
There's got to be one out there.
I think
wonder.
there is.
I wonder if I'm not saying Heady Topper is my favorite beer I've ever drank because I like Heady Topper, but it's got a nostalgia to it. I wonder if you scanned it, if it'd be a 10 because that's pretty much like what people consider like the golden goose of IPAs.
Wait, who's the
What's
brewery?
Heady
for
It's
Heady
the
Topper?
Alchemist. It's
Okay.
out of Vermont, but I personally think Sip of Sunshine's better. But we'll talk about it.
I love this. I think we need to get more beer connoisseurs like Mike on this.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say I'm a connoisseur.
I will say Mike is a very good IPA connoisseur.
No kidding.
And that would be a good addition too, because you and I are not too familiar with IPAs. I mean,
I just can't do it.
I like them. I just
I do
can't.
too.
I mean, some of the ones with high IBUs, like when you're talking like 70, 80, 90 IBUs. It's
Well,
like,
my favorite like I don't want to say every day because I don't drink IPAs every day, but my favorite beer to drink like without going to buy a Sip of Sunshine, which costs a lot of money, is a perpetual IPA from Trogs,
Yeah, they're
which
good.
is 85 IBUs.
Is it really that high?
Yeah, and it's awesome.
Wow. So most people don't know what IBUs are. You want to try to explain it? Do you know? International bitterness units?
Yeah, it's basically you just said it. I mean, it's the bitterness of
How
the
much
beer.
hops
And the
or-
higher
It's-
higher the number, the more bitter it is. Yes.
The more bitter it is, yeah. The more
Does that
hoppy it is, the
correlate
more-
to hops usually? Or?
Like so, a session IPA, for example, right, which is less alcohol content, but also would be like most sessions are in the 30 to 50% session. A 50 IBU session would be high.
Right.
A 30 IBU session, 30 to 40 is pretty normal.
So, and here's what I find interesting about it. The session
Yeah.
IPAs I can stomach way more than these. Like a true IPA kills me. But a session seems to be a little bit more mild, like you're saying, as far as the IBUs go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it almost like if a Scotch is
No,
peaty?
I'm just looking at the.
Is it similar to
IPAs
that?
on this.
I think so. Not taste-wise.
Oh yeah, absolutely
But
not
yeah,
taste-wise, but
yeah.
like, hey, that's a really peaty Scotch. You're like,
So wait, let me ask you a question. Yes. Yes.
You
from a
should
Scotch
have brought some Scotch on for him so he could talk about it.
I
because
didn't realize
what the
that
hell
was
is he
the
going to say
case.
about Jack's hard cider?
Well, listen.
I'll tell you what, it's
to
definitely hard.
That's what she said.
do. That's what he said. That's what he
But
said.
That's
Boom.
what she said.
Listen, this episode we're talking buttholes and hard cider.
That's gonna be the title of the
It
podcast.
should be the new podcast.
Buttholes and hard cider.
Hard cider and buttholes.
So, I got a question. Lawson's Finest Liquids. Is that
Yes.
the brewery it comes out of, Mike? Or
Yes,
is that, okay.
that is the brewery.
All right.
And the other beer I mentioned. So real quick, and I'll turn it over to the hard cider guru. Vermont has kind of become the mecca of IPAs,
Okay.
Okay.
right? So there's a couple different hotbed areas in the United States. One of them is San Diego now.
Oh, big
So-
time.
Yeah, big time San Diego, and big time Vermont. But why Vermont has created such a nostalgia about IPAs is that they don't release them out of the state. So like the
wow.
fact that
Okay.
you can get Sip of Sunshine now in our local brewery is new by like 6 months.
Wow.
And that's how they created the Aura. Like the Alchemist Heady Topper, you have to wait at. They'll say we're going to release these beers at stores in Vermont on Wednesday. This date, you got to show up. You get
And they're
show up in
probably
line.
gone by Wednesday.
And they're
right?
gone.
Yeah.
So they create this like demand, kind of opposite of even how good the taste is. I'm not saying the taste on both of those beers aren't great, but that's why beers like that we drink that are IPAs, like Sculpin, great beer, mass produced, awesome flavor, awesome taste, but you get it anywhere.
Well, the other thing too is I think why IPAs are so popular is the drinkability. Like you can sit here, right, Mike and Ryan, and you can sit here and have like 3 or 4 and still feel refreshed. You're not weighed down. But if you're drinking a stout, right, like a Guinness or something like that, you might start to feel a little heavy, right? It's a thicker beer, so I feel like the lightness
More of a
it-
meal than
yeah,
say,
exactly.
a drink. So I'm curious to hear your, and from a marketing perspective, this goes to you, right?
Sure.
So we really didn't. I guess at the end of this, we'll wrap it up with where people can find you and what you want to tell the folks about what you do in case they want to reach out and do something. But
Save it for another episode.
we can do that. No, we
Yeah,
can certainly do that. But from a marketing perspective and a beer drinking
Well, we should talk
perspective-
about Ryan's business. Our businesses we'll talk about later.
Okay, that's fine. Well, we
His-
can do all that. So
his is-
from the marketing perspective,
Yeah.
what do you think about this influx of cans? So cans are making a huge comeback, and they are pretty as hell these days.
It's artwork nowadays.
The artwork is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that from a beer drinker's perspective?
I'll let Ryan talk from a marketing standpoint. I'll buy a can of a beer any day.
Why though? But it was
I-
so
I'm not gonna-
passe over.
I'm gonna
Go ahead. Go
That's just my
okay.
any day.
I think anything tastes better coming out of a bottle, to be honest.
Really?
But I think from a marketing standpoint, any bottle or anything, like think about when you go to buy tequila, scotch, anything,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much volume now. There's not just the big boys playing anymore.
No, the little guys are
Anything you
getting
could
in
do
too,
to
right?
stand out on
Yeah.
the shelf and get people to look at your bottle. Like there was that one tequila, and I know it's not cans, right? But I just think it in general, like
The
what's
skull
the
one?
tequila? The skull,
The skull,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I bought that just because
It
I wanted to
looks
try
awesome.
it, and it's a good tequila.
Yeah.
But I think
Isn't that like Kanye's brand or somebody? There's a
forget.
hip hop artist
Cas,
behind it.
Cas,
I forget. Yeah, I'm not.
There's an artist behind that.
Yeah.
Well, right. Talk about like just the marketing of Casamigos. I mean, what happened there?
Well, they tied in the most handsome man in the world, George Clooney.
Wait,
Oh yeah,
explain
it's
that.
tequila.
No, you
George
got to
Clooney
explain
came
that.
up with his tequila brand, right?
Well, him, Mike Melvin, right?
Yeah, and
And
Cindy
Cindy
Crawford's husband.
What's
What's
his name?
Oh man.
Cindy Crawford's husband.
Oh yeah. But
Is
and
he
his friend-
perpetually known as Cindy,
Handsome man,
even though
too.
he's been very successful in his
Isn't
own
it
right?
crazy that he's Cindy Crawford's husband?
Yeah, no matter what.
If
I mean,
you
the
were-
guy's
listen,
worth
if you were
hundreds of
Cindy
millions of
Crawford's husband,
dollars.
would you give a shit?
No,
what
I
people
wouldn't
called
give
you?
a shit if
You'd call me that all day.
Because
Call
I'm
me-
usually
call me
thinking about
Dick
her, not
Jones.
him. What-
But I think just without getting too far off topic, I think it's very important. I think it's important because, like you said, there's so many smaller producers now and more volume in the game, and it's not just like, hey, am I choosing between Budweiser, Coors, or Miller? You know, you have to stand out as best you can. So
And honestly, the cans are what's standing out. Just like the skull is for the tequila. If you're walking into a supermarket, you're going to look towards that pretty looking can or bottle as opposed to the one that's just sitting on the shelf like that, you know?
exactly.
Well, I'll tell you one more thing about it too is the practicality of a can. No, taking out recyclables, unpacking them, loading them in your fridge,
It's
Smash.
probably
packing them in a
cheaper, too,
cooler.
for your
like
for
all that
brewery.
stuff plays in. And now that cans are acceptable again, and it's like not you're drinking a Miller Lite. No offense to Miller Lite, but I mean, now that you could drink a great beer out of a can, so much more practical.
Well, let's talk actually about aluminum versus glass. And I didn't know this until recently. There's actually a water company who's now putting water in aluminum cans because aluminum is more recyclable than the
Than
glass
plastic.
that they're making them in.
That makes sense to me.
and plastic or the
The plastic and the glass. So
Okay.
aluminum is able to be melted down and molded back into another can with a bunch of different cans involved. But for glass, there's different glasses involved that you can't do that, and the glass takes longer to recycle. So they're now embracing cans more because it's starting to become more
makes
environment-
sense. And just against
environmentally
plastic.
friendly.
Like
Yeah.
think about aluminum versus plastic.
Yeah.
It's got to be aluminum's found on the earth,
Aluminum,
right?
yeah.
And I also have to imagine the cans are cheaper for the brewery to bottle their beer to put in their
That's a-
beer
yeah.
in than it is for glass, right? Maybe I'm wrong.
Well,
I'm not challenging you on
it.
Right?
I mean, it goes back to the recyclability of that. If you're able to put the cans in the recycled can, go to the plant, break them down, make them into new cans, that's faster than a glass going back into the plant and making
Right.
them into another bottle.
And so, real quick, let me just tell you. So we were talking about Crystal Head vodka.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and it was founded by Dan Aykroyd.
No, there's a
Oh, no
tequila
way.
skull too. It's
Oh, tequila.
Voss.
Oh, I'm
tequila.
going
No,
vodka.
no,
No, it's a-
ka.
It's a tequila.
Okay, I went to the because as soon as you said it, I thought about
Three
the
different
skull
colors.
And
vodka.
I'd like to give Randy Gerber a shout out. That's Cindy's husband.
Randy Gerber.
Yeah,
Did you just
Wait.
Google that?
yeah, I did.
Randy,
I'm
if
not
you're
gonna lie to you.
listening,
I'm
we're
on
sorry.
camera.
Tag him on your Insta.
Yeah,
Tag him on
I
your
don't even
Instagram.
have Insta, but that's
We'll
fine.
get it.
At the end of the day, the guy's doing fine.
Yeah,
He's
fine.
doing
I believe you.
just fine.
Just fine.
Do we have to balance the show? Can we just talk about alcohol the whole time, or do we have to go into
No,
This is-
we don't have to do it. We can do
This is
everything
what's great
you
about
want.
the podcast format.
It's
It don't
barbells
fucking
and brews,
matter.
and it can be
doesn't
99
matter.
brews and 1% barbell.
I think we all had enough barbell
yeah, I
today.
think we are too.
We did, and
Yeah.
I have some great. If you're listening, I have some great footage of Chaz doing the barbell stuff and me
Yeah.
doing the brew stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a great
That's
commercial.
usually how it
good.
goes in the podcast.
I like that actually. That's pretty good.
Well, one of us is the fitness coach, and it ain't me.
Yeah,
I think that's evident.
I would not say that's evident.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Listen, you don't have to
And
choose the
thank you,
host.
sir.
You're here every day,
Thank
man.
you, sir. And
You know
by the
what?
way-
No, the best part about fitness is, and our gym, nobody judges, right? We all get in there, we do our thing, and we work our asses off, and
The friendships.
some outperform others, and you and I are usually outperformed.
Yeah. No, and I think it's.
But we're having fun.
It's always, no matter where we're at, what we're doing.
Right.
It's always fun in these doors. That shared suffering aspect is fun.
You know, the best part is when you're laughing with someone right before the pain starts to hit in the workout,
Yeah.
and you're just dying from a joke that happened.
Oh yeah,
That's
you got
the
it.
best.
Well, listen, we started this podcast, me and you, because we've worked out together for so long, and you went, we should do something. And I went, okay.
Yeah, we
wanna drink
We
beer?
should talk about what we just did and drink beers while we're
Drink
doing
beers.
it.
I was like, good, beers are in.
I said I think your intro is the best though.
You love that?
Oh, I love it.
Yo, shout out to the
SL from Repeat Offenders.
yeah, SL from
That's my
Repeat
dude,
Offenders
Sean
for
Jacks.
the
That's a
Have you
hot
listened to it?
intro.
Have you heard it?
No.
So we had a custom-made 30-second hip-hop rap song made about Barbells and Brews, Chaz and G.
and the dude's a lyricist too.
Can you play it right now on this podcast?
It'll when you listen to the podcast, it'll be the opener.
It's the
That's
opener.
how we
First
lead
30
into
seconds of the
All right.
podcast.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the full version of the song.
But by the way,
Yeah, I'm listening.
if you look at what your camera
Yep.
is rested on,
Yeah.
That's a kegerator
That's
that hasn't been hooked up yet.
I've been busting.
Brand new. Brand spanking
I've
new.
been busting his balls for.
I know.
Shouldn't
No,
be busting my balls. This guy just
It's
dropped
mine.
it off.
It's mine.
Yeah, he just walks
But
in
it
the
is brand
gym,
new.
It's
And we
like,
just
yo,
need to
here's
get
the
some.
keg ready to go. Well, a friend of ours, Jeff King, who tends to recommend beers to us for the shows every time, is always talking about putting some type of beer in there almost weekly. So I think
I'll get it hooked
there's
up.
one person who
Let's
we
do
gotta
it.
I'll get it
We
hooked
had it hooked up at our first location. It was hooked up.
I remember early. Yep.
Different
I know.
one. Different
Wait,
one.
was that on the second floor by the fridge?
Yeah, right in the little lounge in there.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, we did that for a little bit of time, and then I think we realized that it was kind of defeating the purpose of the fitness. People
No,
were coming
you already said it's not defeating.
No.
Fitness allows
So
us
maybe
to
I
enjoy
should
a
have just
couple
came here
beers.
to drink.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, you got to work out
Here's the
first.
thing.
Oh,
It depends
got it.
on what your goals are. If you're coming in to just be happy, healthy, and fit, and you want to get your hour of workout in a day and then go grab a beer at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's your vice and you want to do it and enjoy it, to each their own.
I mean,
I
I
don't
don't
look at it
cocktail
as-
every night.
I don't look at it as a vice unless it becomes a vice.
True.
And by the way,
True.
drink IPA, not shitty light beer, because there's so much stuff in that is not good for you.
Okay.
Light beer is way worse for you than a good brewed IPA.
I'm Mike. I'm with you. I don't drink.
And how do you feel
light
about
beers at all.
local versus like?
Oh, I don't care as long as it's good. I mean, you always support local guys if it's good.
Okay.
We got, and guess what? Around here, we got a ton of really
Yeah.
good.
This is a huge
Levante's
area.
a great one.
Levante's wonderful.
Yeah.
And what's that?
Tired Hands.
Yeah.
Tired Hands
Right?
is a big one.
Pizza Boys right here. What are you gonna say, Ryan?
Two things now because I'm on two trains of thought. With the keg being after your workout, I don't know if this is true. This may just be made up. But there was that study where, like, if you ran a marathon or some distance, it's better for you to have one beer after the run than a water because there's minerals in the beer
Well, no,
and all
no,
that
it's the
crap.
carb content. So,
Okay.
So the simple sugars in the beer tend to replenish your glycogen stores faster after an exercise. So, ironically enough, when I was in school for exercise science and I was talking to a professor, she had just told us that she had run a marathon, and I'm like, oh, great. And she's like, yeah, and I had 2 beers after. And we're all looking like, oh, my God, this is like pseudoscience. Our professor drank 2 beers after a marathon.
Yeah.
And then she goes on to explain why she had 2 beers instead of just drinking water the entire time. And it comes from the carb content in the beer.
And with that, I think this show, in general, is over. We just married the two things. We've proven, right? We've proven that you need to drink beer after your
Pretty
workouts.
good culmination.
Well,
I don't want it to end. Should this be an extended episode?
No. Well, before, it's not
No,
going
I
to
don't mean
end.
the episode. I mean the show in general is
Oh.
over. There's-
We've solved the lifelong equation of
That's it.
exercise
We-
and beer.
Yeah, I mean, we
hit
should-
Alpha and
I'm looking
Omega.
at the
Drop the mic.
I'm looking at the vending machine. We should put IPAs in the vending machine.
We should put
I don't know if that's legal, but we will look into
look
it.
into it.
Well, we got to ask them about their rating.
Well, we're not ready to worry about what's
You always
legal.
bring
We
us
got all the
back to
cops
listen,
here.
I'm keeping you on task there, Gene.
No, it's
So
really
here's
good.
the thing, guys. I'm going to get a rating from you, Mike, and a rating from you, Ryan. So we're on a 10-point scale. That'll be the first cider that we rate. This will be the 7th beer that we rate. So, again, 10-point scale. We factor in taste, how long it lasts on the palate, the price. So what do you guys think?
Let me
let
go
Ryan go
first
first.
because I'm out, basically, and I'm drinking Jack's.
It's okay.
Jack's. Very enjoyable.
The ladies that are listening love every minute of this.
If
Sexy
10
voice cider reviews.
Oh,
unbelievable.
my God. That's what you go to bed to.
Yo, that's a podcast in and of
Jax.
It
itself.
sure is.
Jack's, if 10's a unicorn, and any liquid I'm talking about, and I'm drinking Jack's after a long day on a cold fall day, I think it's like a 7. 6, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Very
I thought you were going to
drinkable.
go.
I thought you were going to go
drinkable.
higher, but I
Okay.
respect
Yeah,
it.
me too, actually.
Yeah.
Me too. I thought so, too. Do you have a cider that is a 9?
Oh, so that's my point. Like, if we're going a cider scale, that's different. I was just talking like
Just
a general
beer?
Well, you
Okay.
got
Or
to go.
even-
You got to go cider scale. 'Cause that's
cider
what-
scale. Cider scale, I'll give it 8.5, 9.
Okay.
Because I like it the most from a drinkability standpoint.
Okay.
You're not drinking 10 ciders.
Well,
Stop.
speak for yourself, pal.
I mean, it gets too sweet, I feel like.
No, I know. I'm with you.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. All right. So a 7 in beer standard and an 8.5 to 9 cider standard.
But a cider standard, so he likes it as
Yeah.
compared to other
And I've had it
ciders. That's
before
good.
too. And again, I had it off of his recommendation. So this is a local cider. It's pressed on site. you can't really get better than that. And the fact that it's got such a low sugar content and it's still kind of sweet makes it all the more better for its rating.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
Jack's
you
hard,
sold
baby.
me. The wife
Jack's
likes
hard.
some ciders. I'll bring it next time and see what she thinks about it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Jack's Hard,
watch
if you're
out
out there,
for the,
sponsor the show, please.
Watch out for the splash when you open the can.
It wasn't bad, though. Did you
No.
notice it?
No, every time I didn't open
I'll
it.
tell you what, when I get splashed from Jack's, I know something good's coming now.
That's a T-shirt idea right there.
That's actually a video that we're going
They
to have
should
that's pouring
sponsor.
Jacks over his face.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that video, just like people opening it into their face?
The initial
Jacks, if you're
splash.
listening, it's a marketing opportunity. Forge Apollo.
So
Jack
Call your
Splash.
boys.
yeah, right.
Call your boys.
So the sip of sunshine. What do you think, Mike? I know you were talking about this and how the coincidental.
All right, so I don't want to burst anybody's bubble here because I did call it out. I do love Lawson's Finest Liquids. I think they're amazing. The best beer I ever had out of a tap was 3 years ago when I was in Vermont, and I had already had the Heady Topper, which I talked about from The Alchemist, and I love it. And then I had this sip of sunshine out of a tap in Vermont. I think it was the Vermont Hotel, and it was fantastic. And I couldn't stop talking about it. And I hadn't had it since until I saw it in the beer distributor probably 6 months ago. And I love it. It is still one of my favorite beers, but it doesn't. When I first opened it and tasted it, it didn't resonate like out of that tap the first time.
yeah.
So I'd really be interested to go back to Vermont and try it again out of the tap and see whether or not it
Do you
rejuvenates.
think, this is just a question for you. Do you think beers taste different tap versus can?
I'm not good enough to know.
I think so.
You think so?
I think it's more mental. Like I think environment and where you're having like a Guinness in Ireland is a Guinness in Ireland.
It's
Yeah,
probably
it's
the best
different.
Guinness
Totally
you've ever
different.
had.
Yeah.
My
It's
God,
not
Guinness is
without
so
question.
bad. It's like
But
I'd rather
everyone
lick
says
cardboard.
it's the way it's made, and maybe it is. But at the end of the day, you're sitting in Ireland. What did you say?
I'd rather lick cardboard.
What, you don't like Guinness?
Oh my God.
I like Guinness.
Can't take it?
Listen,
And
I
actually,
do too.
I could drink Guinness because it's from buckwheat.
Oh, you can. So
Not-
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So butthole approved.
but
well, like I'd say
Butthole
on the
approved.
butthole scale, we're looking at like a 4. But I mean, don't you agree that if you're in like part of the nostalgia of that
Yeah,
was being
I
in
do.
Vermont?
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. That's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, I'm going to rate the beer. I'm going to give it an 8.6.
I think that's fair.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it because as much as he claimed he loved it,
I
thought
do
it was
love
gonna be
it.
higher than that.
I do love it. But a 10 would have to be like,
I don't think there is a 10.
out there?
Yeah.
there's got to be somewhere, right?
Well, all right, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Then go ahead and, besides the Heady Topper, on the spot, give me one
By the way,
more you
price-
rate higher.
Price plate plays into my 8.6.
So what? Yeah,
So
Gene,
what do
what
you-
is
This
the
is not a
price?
cheap beer.
It's not cheap, but it's Mike Holloway. It's not Mike
So
Holloway
did it come?
expensive.
Did it come in a 6-pack?
It came in a 6-pack.
What's the price of a 6-pack?
$4 a pop. So it was about 24
Yeah,
bucks.
I mean, yeah.
give or take.
Yeah.
So 23.58.
Yeah, you're right. No, absolutely. Yeah, he's
It's
right.
expensive at the store, though. You're not. I mean, that's like
It's almost
Well, and
90.
also it's not
it's
a-
90 bucks, 80 something bucks a case.
And also, listen, it's not a 12 ounce,
no, I know.
right? I mean,
know.
you're getting some juice there.
I get
There's-
it.
There's
I
some
get
good
it.
stuff.
No,
I
but
get
8.
it. No, I love it.
Listen,
I'm just saying that all plays into my 8.6.
Yeah, 8.6 I think is so solid for.
That's a
Yeah,
super solid one.
absolutely.
We haven't. I don't know that we've had another one 8.6.
No, we haven't. That's the second highest one we've had so far.
It's
on
got
the
to be
show.
right. So
Who-
what
wait.
would you think?
So I'm not an IPA person.
Right.
I've just recently gotten into them because I grew some hair on my balls, so I'm a little bit more mature than I've been before.
Are we talking about your balls again?
Listen,
Jesus.
I got to bring it up each episode. Yeah, I would probably go like 7, 9, 8, only because this is like the best IPA I've had, and it's not. I don't have a lot, so for me to be able to drink this easy and not have an issue with the bitterness of it, I think is pretty good.
It's gotten much better. I think I'm going to pay for this tomorrow because I think that the hops in it are going to give me
I was
a
about
headache.
to say, how do you feel right now drinking?
Oh, fine.
Okay.
Oh, no. It's great. I think it's delicious. I don't want to rate it because I'm terrible with IPAs.
Well, you
so I
know,
don't-
ironically enough, and let me get my phone because I want to go to Untapped and see.
do it.
what's comparable
And
to
in the
him.
meantime, here's what I would tell you. I would totally
Yo.
drink it again.
So listen to this. So Untapped goes on a 5-point scale. So we just double that and go 10-point scale. Untapped is a 4.39.
439. So it's in,
This dude is a
So what's
is on
that? An
point.
8-7?
And I do not have Untapped. I promise you.
8-7-8.
Can check my phone.
Yeah, no, we believe you.
He-
So it's an 8-7-8, something like that.
He's on
That's
point
high,
pretty much.
dude.
Yeah,
I'll take
that's
it.
high.
So that's higher than I. That's almost an 8.8.
That actually
that's
might
higher.
be one of the highest rated on Untapped.
So far, and it's funny because, like we said, I asked specifically for the IPA guy in the beer distributor, and the guy said, "This isn't my favorite IPA. This is my favorite beer."
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, well then give me that." Like,
Yeah.
if you drink IPAs and it's your favorite, it can't be awful.
Don't you think most beer gurus are IPA people though? Like true.
It seems
think
that
of the
way.
guy. Like at heart, you're a wine guy, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the mode, but yeah, I'm not a wine connoisseur. I love beer, but it just does so much to my midsection. I just
Yeah.
can't drink it like I like to, right? I love wine because
What kind of beer do you drink?
I'm
Forget-
I'm
usually.
darker. I'm a porter stout.
Yeah, we're
lager
kind of
guy.
biased on this show
Okay.
because I'm the same
Yeah.
way.
I'm just telling you that. I'm telling you
Go, I'm listening.
that is worse for your figure than an IPA.
No, absolutely.
No,
it
no,
is.
but the reason why I don't drink the IPA is because the hops give me a headache.
Okay,
That's
got
the
it,
only
got
reason.
it.
I love them. I think they're great.
Yeah.
I'm a Saison guy. Like, my favorite beer, probably one of my top 3 favorite beers,
Saison,
is
you like?
Brasserie DuPont. Saison,
A little salty and. By the way, one of the best beers I've ever had was in Vermont, Saison. I forget the name of it.
it's phenomenal.
Awesome.
And sometimes if you do a little orange peel on it or a little orange slice,
And
phenomenal.
I was about to say too, this beer is perfect for the summer. Like,
Yeah, it's good for the summer.
Better watch out. It's 8%. That'll sneak
It
up
is.
on you.
Whoa.
8, I think it's higher.
This
than
is
that.
one of the higher.
Oh, eight
this
even,
is
yeah.
one of the higher ABVs
Yeah.
for IPAs out there.
It's no Jack cider.
Well, not if you go double.
Jack's
There's
5%.
there's
Yeah.
big
Jack's
ones.
You
True.
said 5.5, I think.
Might be 4.8, 4.5.
Let me see.
I'm coming off
5.5.
bowling.
No,
Couple-
5.5.
no,
5.5,
5 for a cider, right?
5.5.
Yeah. Well, dude, there's some ciders that are 12. They're almost like wines.
Really?
So the drier cider becomes, the more it's like a
Yeah,
wine.
there's barley
Tastes like a
wines
wine.
out there that some of the breweries around us do that are pretty high, like 9.5.
And a lot of vineyards make ciders, believe it or not.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It's closer to a champagne.
You know what's
than
actually
a beer, I
what
think.
I've heard has been
Correct.
getting pretty popular is mead, which is crazy.
And how fun is it to just drink mead?
I haven't done it, but I keep
Me
hearing
neither,
about
but it just sounds fun.
It
It
does
does
sound.
sound fun.
You know, it's like the Bud Light commercial.
Pass
I'll have
me
a
your
To the
mead.
cellar with you. Yeah. You're drinking mead to the cellar. All right, so listen, we're 52 minutes into this thing.
Let's keep it going. Fuck it. Extend the
Yeah.
episode.
Really? All right. Well, I was going to say let's do this because I got a good question.
I got 5 minutes because I got a baseball game for my son.
Oh shit.
he does have
I
to
was
go.
I was about to go two-parter.
You listen. You can.
what?
We can
So
do.
what?
You come
Who's
back.
about to go
Will
what?
You come back.
No, I was gonna say let's
After the
run.
baseball game?
No, another day.
That'll be like 11 o'clock.
no.
Like
Can I
another
get you to
show.
come back another?
He's like, it'll be 11 o'clock.
We got plenty
You
of
guys
beer
still
there.
going?
Might be all right. Will you come back for a part 2?
Of course.
All right, we'll do that.
I was gonna say let it run and we'll cut it into 2 episodes.
We can do that. Listen, it's an hour. We might have to cut it out.
No, they have somebody coming up next, I think.
Let me end with this, and then I'm gonna let you go to your son's baseball game because it's the most important thing we do.
Yeah, it's at 8 o'clock. I'm good. It's 5 minutes down the road. I got
Sounds
some
good.
time.
But let's do this. This is where I want to end it. If you're okay with it,
I'm good with it.
we're 6 years into this thing.
Yeah.
Where do the brothers Holloway see this thing? I don't want to say in another 6 years. Let's go 3. Where do you see this in 3 years? Where do you see? And maybe you encompass fitness in general. Let's bring in Paul Bunyan. Let's talk about your family business, whatever it ends up being. Where do you see yourself and this
where do you
community?
both see
Let me
yourself?
let me
3
jump
years?
let me jump one thing and then I'll turn it to you because you actually turned me on to this thing. You know, originally why I got into it, kind of fell into opening this thing and stumbled on this amazing community that we've created. Everyone's amazing friends. The friendships that have
Unbelievable.
come from this place are
Unreal.
unreal. But Mike said something to me the other day that really resonated. He's like, dude, can you imagine like Mikey, who's his son, and Leo, like working there in the summers as they get older and
Like Gary Jr. did,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Like Gary Jr. did.
But legacy and like having our kids be able to come. We don't look, Mike. Like Mike said, it's a lifestyle business. We do this because we love it, and we want to build an awesome community. We're not like trying to turn this thing into the next mega company, right?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, if we can successful business, keep the community in the feel that it's all about, keep people happy here, and like if our kids can come work a summer job here, like that's awesome. Have a legacy to
Be
pass
able to
down to your
pass
kids.
down the legacy to your children and have that kind of transcend not just you but into your kids as well, right?
Yeah, I mean that you're the one who
I
originally
totally
said
agree.
that. So I think
I would love. I love this building. I love this location. I love our gym. Love the membership. We're not going anywhere. I mean, we're over the hump. We're having fun. I could envision 6 of those keg raiders right across this wall. You walk in, you pick your poison after you work out. Make it a living environment. I'm not, also like a juice bar and
here's the thing I'll say too. The legacy of the gym, I think, is set by the amount of people who stay afterwards after the workout. Yeah. And by God, don't we have tons of people who literally will stay hour plus after the workout, talk, just be able to hang out here. And it's almost like you got to tell them, like, yo, we're kind of closing up soon, because they love where they're at.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing.
No, some of the best hours of my life are spent here. I enjoy coming, right? I mean, listen, respect. It changed my life 6 years ago. That's why I'm your biggest loyal fan. You know that. I'll speak for myself. I'll never go anywhere.
I mean, I'll cheers to that sentiment as well. When I walked in here, I didn't think that this was going to be as impactful as it's been, and I went from a member to a coach to being able to be certified in CrossFit, which is what I love to do, and I owe it to Paul Bunyan and to these gentlemen.
And now here we are, 6 years later, with a podcast and the Brothers Holloway.
Yeah.
6 years, baby.
I love it.
And I'll say this: if you do end up putting that many beers on tap, we'll rename it Barbells and Brews.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Wow.
Actually,
And you just
what
come
we
in
would do
and
is
you could
it'd be
sample everything.
Paul Bunyan Fitness, but there would be Barbell and Brews like cafe
Oh,
inside. How do you
Yeah,
like
we're
that?
already talking about getting our own brew going.
Look at that. There you go.
This one's
Well, we'll
called
be the
Butthole
first to put it
Coffee.
on tap.
Go. I'm down.
and there's no marketing. You got.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys.
It's like a.
We wish you all the success in the world.
And I appreciate you guys being on, for sure.
Yeah, listen, this was wonderful. I'm thinking, if the worst case scenario, the community is going to learn something about you guys a little bit, where the name came from, all that good stuff. We're going to do a part 2, yeah?
Yeah.
Commit it.
Definitely.
Tell me.
Yep.
We're in. All right, so let's wrap it up, right?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Thank you guys for being on the show. I appreciate it.
It was fantastic.
Thank you to-
I can't believe it's 57
Seriously,
minutes long.
thank you to Paul Bunyan Fitness for having us and letting us use their
Always.
facility, as always, to these gentlemen
So,
right here.
Sip of Sunshine IPA,
Yeah.
Jack's Hard Cider,
Check us out on Instagram, Barbells and Brews Show.
iTunes 5 stars.
iTunes 5 stars. Give us a rating. Let us know
And what
how
do we say
do.
to end it?
Cheers to your health and fitness.
Cheers to your health and fitness.
And what was the name of the sponsor right now?
Tavor.
Tavor.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fantastic. First sponsor. They're going to be huge
I think
after
so.
you guys blow it up.
We're blowing it up. And thanks for your help in that.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Later, boys.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.